Happy Sunday, everyone, and welcome to the Sporty Show. The Premier League is back, and what a busy weekend it has already been. And I am, as always, Sarah Pararia, joined with the lovely, the one and only Clinton Codd.
Oh yes, wagwan, wagwan. Ladies and gentlemen, what's up? Happy Sunday. I should just mimic one of the pastors in Nigeria.
Go for it. We'll have a session right here.
Oh my God, you are blessed. You are blessed. I pray for you this day. Your team, Chelsea, Manchester City, your team would win. In the name of Jesus. Amen. Come on, Alex Astro.
In this case, which team are you praying for to win?
I'm praying for Chelsea. Come on, man, you should be saying thanks to me, fam.
Thank you.
I mean, I've literally just I've done something.
If we lose now, it's your fault.
Fam, if you lose, it's your fault because you didn't say amen. You didn't say amen when I said... He didn't say amen and now he wants to blame me. Oh, yeah.
We have a lot to talk about today, guys. We have a 2-hour show. We will be with you for a while. Later on Sporty TV, we'll be showing La Liga with Real Sociedad taking on Rayo Valladolid in their opening match of La Liga. But as I said, there is so much to discuss today. Let's get into it. Here's what we got going on.
We kick off today's show by focusing on the Premier League, as Manchester United got off to a great start, Arsenal beat Wolves, and Man City get their campaign underway against Chelsea today. We also take a look at everything La Liga, with Barcelona kicking off their season with a win, and Real Madrid taking on Mallorca tonight. And we also look at all the latest transfer gossip, in what will be a jam-packed sporty show.
Yes, guys, there's so much going on today, but I think there's only one place to start. Alex Ashmore, Bukayo Saka. What a match he had. Arsenal beat Wolves 2-0, and the link-up play between him and Kai Havertz.
It's good to see. It's really good to see. And I was impressed with Arsenal's performance. Maybe it wasn't their best performance, but it was all-round. It was complete. They got the win. I think that was the most important thing. Sometimes the seasons you start a little bit slow, takes time to get into... 6th or 5th gear, whatever the highest gear is for Arsenal in this case. But, yeah, I think they were tested by Wolves, but definitely weren't uncomfortable for large periods of that game. I don't think Wolves looked like they were going to get anything out of it. And to be honest, judging off that performance, I know it's very early. I think Wolves might struggle this season. They looked quite short of the pace, and I know it's against a good team like Arsenal. But, yeah, I was impressed by Arsenal, impressed by Saka, Havertz, the defence. There are a few weaknesses in there, but overall a good win.
Clinton?
Saka? No, you see, he's a star boy. I think when The Weeknd was talking about star boy, The Weeknd should just go sit down because he doesn't know what he's saying. Saka is a real star boy. When I saw the goal he scored, I was like, hey, God have mercy on me. Like I said, I don't want us not to win the Premier League. Right? But when you see individual players like that performing that way, I just think it's just nice to pray that, there's some kind of results that means they're extremely happy. It's not, I just don't want it to be the normal Arsenal getting to a point where, it feels like the trophy is just next to them and boom, somebody else just nicks it. With that kind of performance from Saka, if it was possible for Saka to win the Premier League just by himself, I'd probably give it to him. or maybe say Saka and Odegaard. These two guys are literally my favourite players in Arsenal. Or maybe Kai Havertz as well. I mean, when he was in Chelsea, like I said yesterday, I wasn't a very huge fan of him. I just felt like something was not connecting. We're just looking at what he's doing. I mean, look at that header from Havertz, though. Oh my God!
And that pass was just like, come on.
I mean, there was a point at that game where Wolves literally had some kind of opportunity. I think it was literally straight after the goal, the header. Wolves also had that one where I can't remember which player did exactly the same header that Kai Havertz used in scoring his goal. They did the same, and I think they were just unlucky. For what's his name, Raya. Raya did save it, and it was. His reflex there.
No, he kept Arsenal in the game.
He actually did, and this is why when I was arguing, I don't know who I was arguing this with. I think it was you, Alex.
I think it was our producer, Ben.
Alex.
No.
Was it Ben?
No, you were asking who.
Yeah, I was asking.
Yeah, you're right.
I said Raya And what's the name
You
of
gave me the choice, Raya or Ramsdale. I said
Yes.
Raya.
Oh yeah. Okay. So it was that village man in the control room that did say
That village in the control room. Okay.
No, but Raya did save them. But then, in general, I think it was a very good game. Wolves did have a couple of opportunities, just didn't work for them. But Saka's goal, and you see when he scored the goal, it was so cool. The way he comported himself, the way he literally just sent it in. Oh,
No,
it was
there's
just
something
delightful
about
to
him.
see.
You know how Alex Ashmore always does this?
Yeah.
Oh, they can't see me. I need them to change the screen. Take it off. I'm gonna start doing this because it's way cooler.
Okay, so now you have your celebration. Sarah has that one now. So I think I need to. No, I don't want to do.
Do the.
Wait.
No. We'll get into him. You can go Mohamed Salah. No, he's.
No, I think I want to go. I want to go with something very special. I don't know which one. I think I'm going to come.
I'm not going to stick with this one. Once Lamine Yamal scores his first goal, we'll see what he does there.
I think. Let me see. No, we are going into Barcelona now. But I think if you want to expect goals from Lamine Yamal and to see the kind of celebrations he's going to be doing, I think you will be disappointed. I'm beginning to think Lamine Yamal is a guy who's going to be the worker of the goal, but maybe not a goal scorer.
Yeah.
He's just going to be the one to be giving the guys his goals. Maybe once in a while he's going to give that, solid, that kind of goal that would make you forget all his assists. I think that's who Lamine Yamal is going to be for Barcelona. But yeah, coming back to the Premier League, I need to definitely come up with my celebration.
We'll see.
Eventually. Let's see.
Big game later today, Chelsea and City. So maybe we'll see something.
Listen. Yesterday when we were speaking about Osimhen versus Haaland, you see, this is the game I was speaking about. Like, we need to get Osimhen. It would have been the best game in this season, seeing Haaland when Osimhen facing each other.
We'll win some battle, I think.
Hey, listen, there's still time.
No, but the game is happening today. What do you mean there's
This
time?
game.
Yeah.
I mean, like, they play again later in the season. Maybe they'll play at some point in FA Cup. Could be a champ.
I want it to be started now.
That was a low blow.
Do you know what? It actually wasn't even intentional.
Sure,
I started saying it. No, I genuinely didn't mean to. Sorry, Chelsea fans. That one got the best of me there. But listen, they could play a couple times this season still.
I mean,
it's a possibility.
yeah, well, I hope they do. But Alex, hang on. Just a very, some question for you. Be sincere. When you look at Haaland, you look at Osimhen in the same league, playing against each other or playing against team, but same league. Who do you think, judging from who Osimhen is, who do you think would be having more goals in the league?
It's difficult to say. I think if tomorrow Osimhen is a Chelsea player this season, I still think Haaland gets more goals. He's in his third season at Man City. He's been fantastic. Maybe last year, we criticised him that maybe he wasn't as good last year, but he still got over 25 goals, nearly 30. And his first season, he was phenomenal. I can't see him doing anything different this year. I think he'll be fantastic again. It is sometimes the case where players take time to adapt to the Premier League. Maybe Osimhen could be a quick adapter, but I still think if you ask me tomorrow, who would I rather have, Haaland or Osimhen in my team? Haaland in the Premier League, because he's got the experience, he's got that track record, he's proven himself. But that's not to say that in the future, Osimhen couldn't overtake Haaland and become a better player in the Premier League.
So now your answer basically is possible, but in the future?
It's possible, yeah.
Oh,
I
right.
think if he was to join tomorrow and then play the season with Chelsea, I would still hedge my bets on Haaland. But
right.
I could be proven wrong. Osimhen is the sort of player that could settle in really quickly, hit the ground running and score 20 or 30 goals this season. But Haaland has that experience, so I think that's what I would back.
I'll throw that question back to Sarah, though. Because,
No, I was going to say, I love the way Alex answers the question because you allow it to kind of be open on both sides. You're like, well, it's Haaland right now, but if Osimhen were to play better, then it would be Osimhen. I love it. Actually,
no, but I've told you so many times that
it's very political.
Alex
you
is
need
a
to run for the
politician.
mayor of France.
He's a politician. I've said it billions of times here. He's a politician. Now that answer he's
so
given.
good.
I mean, you've explained it. It's Haaland, but that's one point. He's Osimhen.
I'm just trying to give both sides of the argument.
Of course. Our friend Mark and Day to the show here says it will always be Haaland. Comment on our YouTube chat right now who you guys would rather have, if it's Osimhen or Haaland, and let us know. For me, right now, in the Prem, as much as I like Osimhen more as a footballer, he's way more well-rounded, I think. I have to go with Haaland because, like Alex said, Haaland has proved himself. I think right now, I know that this guy's gonna, probably score at least 25 goals. We've seen it back to back. Can Victor Osimhen do that? I don't know yet. I want him to because I enjoy Osimhen more as a player. But I think right now, I'm looking at just what's been proven.
But when you guys say what's been proven, do you not think Osimhen, or do you just not rate the Italian league? Because I mean, when you see how much Osimhen has done in the Italian league, right? At some point, the fact that Napoli is almost like they are now on the map. I mean, they've been on the map, right? But recently, when you hear Napoli, the first thing that comes to your brain is Osimhen, right? He scores goals. He's done the impossible. He's probably one of the most expensive players now. If he was very cheap, he probably would be in Chelsea already. What kind of what does he have? Is he when you say he's not proven, right? Are you saying in the Premier League, and because Haaland has been in the Premier League already, you just now let's put the both of them. Say Haaland is not in the Premier League. Osimhen, Haaland. Like this is Haaland before coming to the Premier League. What would you have said at that point?
Just as a pure player, taking out Premier League, Serie A, whatever league they're playing in, I agree with Sarah. I think Osimhen's the more complete player. I think he's, they both got brilliant aerial ability. They're both fairly quick. Osimhen's probably quicker. I think, Haaland holds the ball up very well. Osimhen can, he's maybe got that turn of pace. Technique-wise, in terms of a player, they're both very good, but I would take Osimhen on who's the more complete player. Mm-hmm. But when you talk about who I would take in this Chelsea team, obviously, Haaland's not going to come to Chelsea, but who's the better player in the Premier League? I'm not doubting the quality of Serie A. Serie A is a good league. There are fantastic teams, fantastic players in that league, but the Premier League, there's no doubt in saying that the Premier League is a step up from Serie A. The quality in that sense that you're playing against week in, week out, the physicality as well, is different. Maybe you could argue that some of the quality of football in Serie A is better, but there's a completely different style of football in the Premier League. It's a massive difference compared to Serie A. So I think when you're making that step to the Premier League, it takes time to adjust. Some players do it very quickly, like Haaland did. Some players take more time. So I think just based on, if we're talking in the Premier League, I would take Haaland purely because of the experience that he has in that league.
Now, let's talk about chances created by a team like Manchester City, and which I feel is the reason why Haaland is successful. Because at the end of the day,
Haaland's success is 75% Kevin De Bruyne.
Well, absolutely. Now, coming back to a team like Chelsea, do you not think that Chelsea did create a lot of chances that I believe, we've seen Nicolas Jackson, who we believe is not the best when it comes to finishes, right? And he ends up with 20 goals in a season where people still classify him as, mid-average. Now, if you have somebody like Osimhen, right, do you think Osimhen will need time to blend into the Premier League, or do you not think he could come in and because when you see Haaland did not need the time to blend in. Yeah. Haaland came and he just went straight in. And the reason is only because he's joined the team where you have like serious backup in midfield that would only supply you the ball. Do you not think Chelsea, they create a lot, even, I personally, I think Chelsea, they create even better chances than Manchester City, if you ask me, right? The only problem there is just the finishing. Do you not think if you have somebody like Osimhen coming, he would not need that time. He would literally get in and start producing the goals and probably overtake Haaland if it's possible.
There's no doubt that, Osimhen, he's a quality player. I think it depends on the person. Nicolas Jackson, if you compare the two, Victor Osimhen is the better player. He's the better finisher. But who knows, maybe there's some mental side of the game that Osimhen might struggle with in the Premier League. You can never tell until they've had that experience. So on paper, yes, I would say Victor Osimhen would be very quick to adapt to the Premier League. He would, like water off a duck's back. He would go in there, he would score goals, he would be in those positions to score the goals. Chelsea, like you said, do create a lot of chances, and I think a better striker could have scored 30 goals last season for Chelsea. So I think on paper, it's all there for Victor Osimhen to succeed with Chelsea, but you never know until he's actually done it, because there could be something that we don't know about. There could be external factors that influence his game, and I think it's very much the case of waiting to see. But he is a very good player, and he has the ability to do very well in the Premier League.
Let's ask someone that I think will have a really good opinion on this. Gary, welcome to the show. Yes, Gary, how are we doing today? Happy Sunday. Can you hear me, Gary? Maybe not.
No, Gary, I think he's in the spiritual realm right now.
Hi,
All right,
guys.
okay, he's back.
Gary's waking up. Gary's just waking up. Gary, talk to us a little bit.
Happy
Osimhen and
Sunday to you
Haaland.
too. You guys, everybody looking good, and I'm enjoying the show already.
Good. Yeah, I think there's just some slight
I can
delay.
hear you. Hi.
Okay, I mean, guys, just to let you know, Gary is meeting us live from Accra, so he explains the distance and how much he could hear us.
Perspectives that everybody has given so far. I think you guys just agree.
Right.
We'll bring Gary back in a moment. We're having some technical issues there in Accra to Madrid.
Yeah.
We'll ask Gary about it. But
no, we definitely, because you see from his hand signal, you can tell that.
oh, Gary's been making notes.
Well, he's going to give us a whole.
Cook.
Yeah, he was about to cook. That's the word. And we must come back to that conversation again.
I have some comments from YouTube. I'll just check in here quickly. In my opinion, I think Haaland, MD Blaze says, Mukhtar said, there's no argument. Osimhen is the most decorated player in terms of the difference in clubs, but in the Premier League is different. I don't really understand that. If you clear that up for me, because
no, I think what the person is just trying to say is the fact that maybe the two different leagues are different, and I mean, I'm just trying to explain, but I still don't understand. But the one thing I was going to say,
I admire your tenacity to explain it. I don't get it, but I'm going to try.
Yeah, I'm going to try, and then I tried and it didn't work, and I had to just own up that it still didn't work. But maybe what I think the person is trying to say is the fact that, it's a whole different league, and this is usually an explanation that a lot of people would say. Premier League is more tougher, they are more fit. I don't know. But we could have said the same before Haaland came in, right? Because Haaland didn't just come from a Premier League team into another Premier League team. He's come from a whole different league, and boom, he hit the ground running straight up. And I think Osimhen is that guy that will literally come in and start making things happen.
But that's my argument too. I don't think it's about the leagues, because we're also talking about the Italian league, which is arguably the most offensive league in the top 5. So it means that it should be harder to score potentially in the Serie A. But I think it's the difference of goals, because when I look at the 2022-23 season, when Napoli won, Osimhen had 26 Serie A goals, fantastic, and 5 Champions League. Haaland in that season had 36 Premier League goals and 12 Champions League. So for me, I'm not even looking at necessarily the leagues, because I think it's hard to compare leagues, and I really hate when people try. They're all very different, but there's 10 more goals. I'm seeing that's my difference right now. I'm seeing Haaland has 10 more goals than Osimhen had in that amazing season at Napoli. So right now, those are just the stats, right? So I think that's why I was leaning towards Haaland in terms of who's going to score more goals, because that was your initial question, right?
No, absolutely.
I'm not talking about who's a better footballer, because Osimhen is a better footballer, and that's 100%. But if I'm looking at these two in their both prime seasons, the biggest factor to me is that there's 10 goals different. It's, we're not talking 1 or 2. 10 is a lot of goals.
It is.
I mean, but 10 is a lot of goals when it's like an outright goal, though. You see, there are some players, even in the Premier League, that they say things like Penandes and, Penaldo and, all these kind of things, right? Most times when people mention goals, I try to go in depth as to what kind of goals are we speaking about, right? Are they penalty goals, or are they like proper outright goals, or are they set pieces? Like, what kind of goals are we talking?
Well, I think if we start doing that, then are we going to start saying, okay, well, we have a section for free kick goals, we have a section for tap-ins, we have a section for penalties. I know what you're saying, like the quality of goal.
Yeah,
but a goal is still a goal, and that's what it's based on.
No, a goal is a goal, but I will still go back into saying that there are still different types of goals, right? And they are just two. For me, there is a goal and there's a penalty goal, right? I could easily go into the Premier League and outscore maybe one of the best midfielders, because I've been awarded like 3, 4, 5 penalties, right? And I've scored all of them. Yeah, but for me, I do, when I argue goals, I like talking about the kind of goals that's been scored. Tap-ins are goals, because for you to tap in, I feel like tap-ins are probably one of the hardest, because it takes you to be in the right position to be able to tap in.
That's what I say. At the end of the day, there are obviously different types of goals. Yes, you can score an absolute stunner from outside the box, 25 yards. Maybe 9 times out of 10 it doesn't happen, but that one time it does happen. For those tap-ins, for those, short-range goals inside the 6-yard box, you still have to get there. You still have to lose your defender. You still have to be in the position, You know, that's probably where, if you were to compare Haaland and Nicholas Jackson, yes, had a good season last season. You know, he got a good amount of goals, but if he was maybe in the better positions, if he was better at finishing, he would have got those goals.
100%.
Haaland, he did those. He did that. He was in the right position to get those goals. He was, you know, losing his defender. It was a nuisance for defences last season and the season before. So I think you can have quality goals, you know, better quality goals, but then also I think a goal at the end of the day, a goal is a goal. You still have to score the goal, and you know, it's difficult. I think also another thing is the players around you. Man City are, on paper, a much better team than Napoli. If you put Osimhen in a team like Man City or like Chelsea, perhaps he does excel even more than he is now.
I think that's your point, though, no? If he goes to Chelsea, no, that's
100%,
exactly it.
yeah.
Well, as we said, there's still lots of time for that to potentially happen, as we will be updating you guys as we go. Before we talk about a little Chelsea City preview and get more in depth in that, how about we talk about your team? Manchester United getting the first match of the Premier League kicked off on Friday with Man U welcoming Fulham to Old Trafford. And Joshua Zirkzee opening up his campaign for Manchester United was probably about the only good thing in that entire match. You know what? You actually enjoyed it more, so I'm going to let you run here, and then Alex and I will critique. How about that?
You won't let me run. If you want me to run, I'm just going to literally get at my chance at running. Yeah, because I actually want to run. Now, I mean, it was a good first game for Manchester United. They did take the 3 points, which is the most important. I do not. Let's say if he ended up with a draw, I would have been screaming right now because I watched the game and I saw that there were a lot of chances created. I mean, Bruno Fernandes, who usually would not be the guy that would miss some kind of chances, that day he missed 2 really great chances that one of the females in our control rooms would have scored proper easy. Are you saying that
Elena and Lucia are not professional footballers? Because I'm pretty sure they train.
Oh, do they?
How do you know? You've never seen them play football?
Yeah, but I've never seen them play football. All I'm saying, whether they've
maybe
played
it's
or
fair to say Ben could have scored it. Even Ben could have scored it. Our producer Ben.
No, and that's the funny thing. I think Ben will score them eyes closed because you know sometimes when Ben plays football, he plays as if he doesn't see. And not in a bad way. Like I think he's just talented when it comes to that. He would pull out some kind of ball and you would think he doesn't know what he's doing. I mean, it's almost like you too, Alex. Like, you know, you've done quite a few things on the pitch where I've asked you, did you mean it? Like, you know, when you start asking people if you meant that pass, it just means they don't believe in you.
No, it means you don't have faith in the ability.
They were like, wait, did you actually?
No, because sometimes there's like a scenario where it just happens to go your way, but it wasn't meant to.
Yeah, it was. You just know that you're not meant to be capable of that. But Bruno Fernandes that day, he's one of the best he's probably one of the best midfielders global, like in the world, right? And I don't know if I would say he's literally the engine room of Manchester United as we speak. Take away Bruno Fernandes, I don't know what would be of Manchester United. But those 2 goals that he missed, the one-on-ones that we would expect Bruno Fernandes to bury, it was quite scary. Towards the end of the game as well, there was a proper chance by Rashford where he gave the ball to Garnacho. Now, Garnacho on a very good day, there are some kind of chances he would not even think about. Marcus Rashford, who we were speaking earlier, you know, that's the kind of chance he would straight away take. And he was trying to give it. But then it will tell you how much of confidence Marcus Rashford does not have at this point. You know, last game, you see him missed a very obvious, clear chance. And the more you see, the thing about missing chances is the more you do it, the more you start losing confidence in yourself. And the more you start losing confidence in yourself, the more you start making things even more horrible for you on the pitch. And that's what's currently happening to Marcus Rashford. And that last chance that he had, the normal Marcus Rashford that we know, the guy who we were comparing to Kylian Mbappe even at some point, he got a chance like that and felt like, listen, it's not been going my way lately. I've been trying to score goals, and each time I kick the ball, it's going somewhere that's not within where the goalkeeper is like within the goalpost, and he tries to give it to Garnacho. Now, I understand what's happened to Garnacho at that point. Garnacho would not expect Marcus Rashford to be laying that pass. I'm sure Garnacho was thinking, there's no way Rashford would pass this ball to me. He's definitely going to score. And by the time Rashford passed the ball, Garnacho had already lost. It's probably, he wasn't even expecting it. And what did Garnacho do? His instinct just said to him, just kick it somewhere. And he went out. Like, that would have been an easy goal for anybody to score. right? So that game with Manchester United, it could have easily been a 3-4 win. But what's happened? We went with one goal, which still gave us the 3 points. But this is the point where you want to start making these goals count, because you don't know if these goals are going to save you from maybe getting into the European football or even the Champions League. Who knows? So them missing this kind of chances from the start, it's not the best, but I'm still going to give it to United for still going home with a win, at least.
I think, from my perspective, obviously, seeing United and the quality of players they have, I do believe they have quality in positions. But going forward, when you start, and what it looked like from the formation, when you have as your two main forward players as Mason Mount and Bruno Fernandes, they're quality players in the midfield, but they're not going to lead the line. Bruno Fernandes is a 10. He's not a number 9. He's not an out-and-out striker. Rashford, like you said, that finish at the end, 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, Rashford would have slotted that past the keeper in the bottom corner. Wouldn't even thought about passing.
He would close his eye.
Yeah,
he would close his eye. He would
vision.
Yeah.
But when I look at United's attack, it just seems so lackluster, so void of ideas. I think you'd probably get along with him. My father's a big Manchester United fan, and he was critical of them as well. I think, you talk about going forward. Fulham looked dangerous. They looked like they could cause United problems. Going forward, United looked like they didn't have a clue.
Yeah.
They were, I'm going to pass to you and see what you do with the ball. I'll pass to you. You do something with the ball. There was no clear movement. There was no, I'm going to put the ball over the top and you're going to run in behind. There was no clear plan. It seemed clueless in a way. And I've seen this too much from United, where they have the equality of players. They have, you look at their bench, obviously they brought on Garnacho. He's a fantastic player. But you're bringing him on and, I feel like there's no plan. And Ten Hag has to sort that out. And whether Xerxes now plays a more important role, I think after that goal he will. I just think it looked very, very dire from Manchester United against, with all due respect, against the Fulham side they should be beating comfortably.
How concerning, though, is the lack of confidence that Marcus Rashford has, though? Like you guys are saying, that's a goal that if it was 2 years ago, he would have taken it.
I'm not even speaking about 2 years ago, Sarah. Like, literally...
So then even more recent. But like you said, Garnacho wasn't thinking he was going to pass it. So now it's not just affecting Rashford himself, but the players can't read him. They don't know that he's I think it's more like he's unpredictable negatively. But
do you see?
In a team, you have to be able to play off each other. You have to understand how this player plays. Yeah. And this is looking like this could be very concerning.
Yeah. And obviously we'll still have to give it back to the fact that, he's been performing badly. People have been criticizing him to say Rashford has gone from this level 100 and he's on probably level 12 now. And, I understand how this can affect players mentally. We can even speak about the likes of Harry Maguire to the point where his mom has to even make a statement to say, yo, you guys cannot treat my son this way. He's a human being, he's young, and everyone is just criticizing him. And these are the things that when they come on the pitch, if you're not mentally strong enough, right, it would affect your gameplay. Like even the easiest passes that you would normally make, you will be scared of trying to make them because you're scared now that is this pass going to go through to the player who I'm trying to pass it to. And that's what's happening to Marcus Rashford as we speak. Rashford is the guy, like we said, who, a couple of years back or even like a month ago, I would always still speak about the goal he scored against Manchester City was it the FA Cup? I can't remember now, right? And Marcus, I think it was like within the opening first 5 minutes of this game, and Marcus Rashford did the strike from the left wing, and that goal was just spectacular. Now, if Marcus Rashford had scored that goal and came into that match yesterday, right, you will see that maybe his confidence would have, been on some high level where if he had that kind of chance that he's had that's given to Garnacho, Marcus Rashford would literally just be passing this into the back of the net without thinking. And passing it to Garnacho was like, wait, what did I just watch? Like, what did I just see? Was it a good decision, right? If Garnacho had scored the goal, right, maybe we would have been saying something. We would have been saying, wow, that was very good gameplay. He made the right decision. Now, the fact that Garnacho had also missed it, knowing that he probably wasn't expecting it from Rashford, right? We are now criticizing Rashford to say, yo, you should be thinking that that's the Rashford we used to know. So I think this thing is a confidence issue. And listen, I understand that Ten Hag is the guy that has made a few mistakes here and there for Manchester United, and he's been criticised. Yeah, but what he's doing with Rashford is something I applaud him for. The fact that you're seeing a player who is really down and he's not really been performing, and you're trying that game easily, he could have brought in Garnacho to start. But what has he done? He said, you know what, Garnacho, you are up there, right? People see you as a star boy already. Like, people have a lot of confidence in you. How about this other man who you've come into the club, who you've met, who's been here, and whose confidence level is not really up to that standard? Let's give him some chance. And that's Garnacho sitting on the bench, right? Marcus Rashford is coming, and maybe he's not performed to the level where we would have expected him to, right? But making Rashford start, I think, is something I give credit to Ten Hag. And for me, if there's anything that would help Rashford at this point, is for him to still let him play, right? Build that confidence. I mean, maybe if he scored a couple of goals in the next couple of games, maybe it might build him back to becoming the Rashford that he used to be. You know, we also had Amad Diallo. My biggest problem is, why was he taken off? Right now, I can tell you for free that the best player in Manchester United is Amad Diallo for me, right? He's the one person I want to see play.
I think
every single
we have
game.
to give credit where credit's due. I think you're right about Rashford, where the confidence, even not taking the shot, but the ball to Garnacho, you know, Rashford of old would have played a much better ball. It was behind Garnacho, didn't really give Garnacho enough chance to get a hold of it and finish it. But I do think we have to give credit where credit is due. You know, we'll come on to the defence later. I was really impressed with the defence. Obviously, Fulham going forward, I felt like didn't have that killer instinct. But I think, like you said, Amad Diallo, and I think Kobbie Mainoo as well was fantastic. I could see the reasons why they took him off at the end. He did look like he was flagging a little bit. But going forward, that midfield link with Kobbie Mainoo, I think he's fantastic going forward. That link he provides between defence and attack, the balls that he can play, the positions he gets himself in, the defensive aspects that he adds to the midfield as well is brilliant. And to be fair as well, I thought Casemiro was solid. I didn't think he played too badly. And
I think that's probably one of his best games for Manchester United.
And I think the defence as well, Mazraoui I was really impressed with. Maguire, I think, did well. I was excited to see De Ligt make his debut as well, because I think he could be a really good addition to that United defence. I think, as a whole, things to work on, but I guess at the end of the day, a win is a win, and that's the main thing. 3 points are on the board.
Just a comment here from Markinde saying that Rashford has played his best for United and now needs to move to the Serie A or the French League. That's his level now. He will look superior there. Plus, it's a fresh start for him. Clinton, what do you think about that?
I don't know if that's meant to be a compliment or if that's meant to be...
Do what you want with that.
No. The Markinde is quite wise. You know, I think he's beginning to sound like Alex a bit. You know, one of them...
Yeah.
Right? I mean, he's slightly correct, though. I think that Marcus Rashford, he's now playing at those level kind of football. But I'm still the guy that... Am I ready to give up on Rashford? I am not. I still see something in him. I still feel like he still has something to offer in Premier League. I still, even if he's going to even move to a club, you know, a whole different... I don't think he should move leagues. He should probably go to a team where he might have that courage or you know, that freedom to become who he used to be in Manchester United. Maybe the team that Manchester United has become is just not working for Rashford. There are players like that. I mean, we've seen the people, you know, people like Jadon Sancho. You know, Manchester United, he comes in and he feels like he's a iPhone 14 mini, and then he goes to
Mini,
or I don't know, the smaller one. I know it's called Mini, and then he goes to Dortmund, and then he's doing Pro Max. So sometimes the team might be the problem.
Yeah.
You would be surprised if somebody like Marcus Rashford goes to maybe a team like West Ham or maybe Aston Villa, or I mean, just some random team. You could just see maybe the aura, the dressing room. There might be just something about the fans or something that could just ignite in him, and he will start displaying. But then again, this guy speaking about him going to a whole different league is also still possible, right? If you go to the French league, I mean, there are so many players from Chelsea whom at some point we felt like all of you are just rubbish, right? And then they leave Chelsea. They go to AC Milan. Like, look at Loftus-Cheek, who in Chelsea, people thought he was just some fine girl on the pitch. Yeah, I mean, listen, even, what's the name of the American guy?
Pulisic.
Sorry, what was it?
Well, he was the American guy, right?
Christian Pulisic.
Yeah, Christian Pulisic, yeah. And then you also have...
Tammy Abraham.
Yeah, you have Tammy Abraham as well. You have the French guy, the French striker. Sorry, I'm not... Like I said, I'm
I think
getting
the same
old.
thing can be said about United, though, too, and maybe that's why he needs to leave the club.
No,
There's
yeah,
been so many
absolutely.
players that have had bad stints
Absolutely,
there,
yeah.
but I think I almost think it's more mental now. Like, it seems like it could be the team. It just might not work. Like, maybe the memories, like, you know, him building the confidence, playing at Old Trafford. Like, there's so many factors that come into it, and you do wonder, what if he goes to a team like a AC Milan?
Yeah.
Going to thrive, you know? Like, it might be the best thing to do, because the concern, I think, now is that if this is already what he's playing like at this age, basically, is he already on the decline?
Mm-hmm.
And this shouldn't be happening. At how old is he? 28?
26.
20.
It's quite young.
I said 28. He's 26.
He's had a
He's
lot
playing
of
like
soul.
he's 34.
Yeah.
Like, that's the
Yes,
issue.
yes, absolutely,
and
yeah.
we know how capable he is as a player. We've seen how brilliant he can be.
Yeah.
That, something has to be done. And whether it's, you know, him and Ten Hag talk and they have a mutual agreement, or he just decides to, or maybe they can make it work at Manchester United. But for me, I feel like that chapter is closed. Like, I think he needs a complete fresh start.
I think he's had a lot of pressure on his shoulders. I
Yeah.
think he's been, you know, ever since he came through the academy, he's been that next shining light, if you will. He would, you know, United fans understandably say it's a massive club. They'll put a lot of pressure on these youngsters coming through. He performed well. He did brilliantly up from the offset. And I think that pressure sometimes can get to players. And, you know, you've seen it with his confidence. But this may sound like a wild suggestion, but there is a certain club in North London looking for maybe a striker if Kai Havertz can't
Holy
perform
moly.
week in, week out.
Holy moly.
I
Make
think
it happen. Just
After
push
his reference
Kai.
to Arsenal, with Arteta and the team and the players that he has around him, I think it could work.
I think it will work too. Actually, just speaking about that, I'm just imagining what it could feel like. I think that would work. I would love to. I think Marcus Rashford would kill it in Arsenal. Easy.
Let us know what you guys think, if you think Marcus Rashford is the right fit for Arsenal. Also, Mukhtar, I see you want us to talking about Barcelona. We will get to La Liga once we finish chatting Premier League. Well, Manchester United have to take on Brighton next weekend. Brighton obviously had a very comfortable win against a very poor
They are top of the league.
side.
They are top of the league.
I was really impressed with that win over
Exactly.
Everton. And, well, young manager coming from San Pauli.
Younger than...
31.
I am
James
older than
Milner.
him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
James
How
Milner at
crazy.
38 starting.
Yeah. James Milner, first player to ever play 23 seasons in the Premier League. Congratulations.
I can't believe somebody I'm older than is a coach. Please, if there's any team that's looking for a coach, I can do. Listen,
I think Manchester United are.
I think no.
Gets worse.
At least something I know I will do better than Ten Hag is I will not give excuses. 100%. I'll do my job. I'll get them to win. I will not tell them reason why we might not win a game or reasons why we might not win a cup or takes whatever. You know, you played a video yesterday or 2 days ago on the show and you will clearly see that he's an excuse master, but I'm not the guy. I will tell you, I'm going to win. If I'm the coach to Manchester United right now, trust me, we are going to Champions League football and we might not win the league my first year, but second year, facts, 100% I'm doing it.
Well, you've heard it here first. Clinton Codd is promising that if he coaches Manchester United, he will bring them a league within 2 years and a Champions League spot in the first season.
100%.
Let's try this out. Please, somebody make a phone call.
You download Football Manager on your laptop. Try it there first. If you can't do it.
All right, well, I've just heard from producer Ben that Gary is back in the building. Gary, can you hear me?
Absolutely. Sorry.
God. Thank God. We are going to rewind. We are going to rewind. There's been a lot that's been said that we need
Don't
to
worry, I've been taking notes. I've been taking notes about all the topics from
Gary, where do you
Osimhen
want
to
to start?
everything. So I'm gonna give you like a crash summary of everything that I'm supposed to say. Starting from from Osimhen versus Haaland. Like you guys said and seem to agree on, Osimhen is a better all-round player or a more efficient all-round player than Haaland, who is just straight shooter like that.
This guy is always ready. He's always prepared.
So,
Where does he get it? Like the props.
Do you live in a prop department, Gary? You've got all of them.
He has everything. He has everything.
like I'm always ready. I mean, there's kids in the house, and so you need a bit of everything ready. And Haaland, thing is, I don't think Osimhen will ever be a better scorer than Haaland, just because of the way they approach the game, full stop. Osimhen aims to do what every game? He wants to be a better team player. He wants to link up better. He wants to drop, a bit, be able to sometimes give the assist. Haaland is a straight gun for hire. Like when he wakes up in the morning, all he thinks about is to stick the ball in and absolutely nothing else. So, Sarah, the point you made about the 10 goal difference is key. It reminded me of the whole trending argument about whether, in the athletics, in the Olympics, 9.7 will ever become a 9.5 in this generation. Like the guys in these days do not have the height, do not have the technique, do not have the everything that, it's just like that. And I'm thinking that Haaland will never be an Osimhen because he doesn't aim, and Pep is in no mood to turn Haaland into a good playmaker. He just wants him to score goals, and that's why they got him. And when they brought him, you saw what it did to that season, that campaign when they won the Champions League. So that's it for that. Now, to take a stroll through the leagues and how it started, starting from the back and Marcus Rashford. I'll take you back, Clinton, to what you wanted. You kept telling the whole world throughout the Euros that what England lacked was Marcus Rashford and that they had made a mistake. They had made a mistake not bringing him to the Euros. You remember that, Clinton?
Yes, I do remember 100%. But I mean, I cannot remember for today. I will remember tomorrow. Let's
and it's a thing. I think that the player himself has just told us that maybe going to the Euros was the best thing not for England to work down for him because he's just not there. And I remember Sarah saying this, or maybe not Sarah, maybe it was Alex Airports who was saying that it was Alex Airports who was saying that, look, Rashford is a lot of good things, but it doesn't seem like he had his head screwed all in the right place at the moment. And he's been so on and off in the past, I don't know, whatever, that I agree with Sarah when she says that his time at Man United is done. He just needs a factory reset somewhere else. New environments, maybe but basically the Manchester United experiment is done and dusted. Look, he's the sort of player that if today, and Clinton, you had said this a couple of times as well, when you were arguing in his favor, you pointed to especially his games with certain big opposition. And you mentioned a lot his games against Manchester City. He seems to come alive in certain games. He seems to be born for certain games, but you don't play those 5 games every season. You are playing 30 plus games every season. So you want him to be present every single game. Imagine if Erling Haaland only showed up in 10 games a season. Pep will be just sending him onto the nearest Viking ship to to Norway immediately. And that's the problem with Rashford. Right now, the number of effective games we see him in is way too small for a club that is undergoing the transformation that United. And there's a new wind blowing at United, and unfortunately, I don't seem to see at the moment him to be part of that ship as we speak. So that's that for that. You spoke about Arsenal as well. Look, I'm an Arsenal fan, and I liked what I saw yesterday, the fact that they won by 2-0. But then again, there were about 3 or 4 things that were concerning. Thomas Partey was in a good place, but if the opposition was not this one, they might have been punished. You saw that in the second half, he lost about 2 great chances that could have led to the game being 2-2 at any point in time. And that's one of 2 problems I have with my countryman, Thomas. He seems to switch off sometimes in games you don't understand. And 2, can he be fit for the entire season? If Partey is fit for the entire season, I am happy to put my money into the argument that Arsenal can win the league. Okay, that's it. Then again, there's the argument about, do they need a striker? Do we need a striker? We absolutely need a striker because Gabriel Jesus, there's something we are losing that a straight, I don't know if there's any Erling Haaland in the world available at the moment, but that player was going to solve it extremely quickly, immediately. So that's that about that. So what have I missed? Of course, today's big game. It's 3:30 my time, Chelsea, Manchester City. There's going to be a funeral for Chelsea today, and we are going to be attending live and in HD.
Gary, it's Sunday.
Gary, that kind of violence,
there's going
right?
to be a football funeral today.
Sorry,
Like
Gary.
City are going to gut them. Yeah, Clinton.
No,
go ahead.
Gary, I was not going to, sorry for cutting, I was just going to say that today is Sunday, right? And a lot of Africans are in church, right? So you coming with this kind of violence, I mean, look at the time, bro. Just calm down with Chelsea. We also have a Chelsea fan here.
You know I'm saying this? I'm saying this? I'm saying this because most Africans, I mean, per the time zone, will be watching this when they are in church, so they won't even hear what I'm saying.
So, Gary, what do you think the prediction then for your prediction, for Chelsea and
3-1,
City? Let's
3-1. I mean,
3-1.
I think Chelsea are cooking something good. Enzo Maresca seems to know what he's doing, but the meal is not yet cooked. The chemistry, the telepathy is not yet cooked. They won't come good, but I think it's too soon. I think we are going to see a repeat of what we saw in the Champions Cup or whatever it is they played in the US, the game that we watched.
Oh,
again. I think that they are going to beat them again and quite easily.
No Rodri, no Nathan Ake, and Gary's not worried about it. Alex, are you worried?
I mean, I'm worried for Chelsea.
Yeah.
I think, it's going to be a bad afternoon. I think for Chelsea. I think I agree with Gary. You know, there's still a lot of work to be done with that Chelsea squad to make it into the team that you want it to be. Enzo Maresca, yes, did a brilliant job with Leicester, but there's different pressures when it comes to managing a team like Chelsea, especially Chelsea. In fact, probably Chelsea might be the most difficult job in the Premier League because of the pressure that the higher ups, the ownership put on the management. And we've seen it. You know, Graham Potter came through, got sacked. Mauricio Pochettino came through, got sacked. You know, it happens where, you know, no matter how good a manager has as a track record, if you don't perform well week in, week out with Chelsea, that's it. You're getting the chop. So there's a lot of pressure on Maresca's shoulders, but I think, you know, I like the direction he's going in with some of the players that we have in that squad. There's still too many in that squad. And, yeah, I don't think Chelsea fans should have too high hopes for this season. I think if we finish in the top 10, that'll be good.
You know, you guys really underestimate Chelsea a lot, you know.
I have Chelsea finishing in the top 4 as one of my biggest surprises.
I mean,
you guys remember that? Crazy.
See, I've seen Chelsea face really big teams, like Manchester City especially, right? And it's not really been very bad. Chelsea, they are one of those teams where when they face teams like Nottingham Forest or they face Crystal Palace or, say, a team like Leicester, for example, you'll probably see them struggle. But Chelsea facing Manchester United, facing Manchester City, Chelsea facing maybe a team like, say, Liverpool, Arsenal, right? Spurs, like you will see Chelsea turning up. You would even see them creating chances that you will be like, wait, are these defenders sleeping? Are they letting this play? When you look at the kind of people that Chelsea have, though, they are not that weak, right? What's the name of the guy that plays from the right? Who?
Madrid.
No, Mudryk should get out from Chelsea, man. Like Mudryk is a YouTube footballer. I know. I believe I am better than Mudryk is probably faster than me, no lie. But when it comes to Mudryk does not have sense.
Like
right?
Football IQ.
He does not have any football IQ. Like he's literally seeing you and he's trying to run into you. Like he thinks you are spiritual. Like he cannot see you. But fam, there's a human being there. Like I don't know what they see in Mudryk. Yeah, he's fast. But fasting does not bring you the goals. Like you being fast does not mean that there are fast players who have sense, right? But Mudryk is just. That's the only thing he has for me. Nothing else, right? But the person I was going to speak about is Madueke, right? Madueke is talented, but I don't know why people don't see it. I don't know why they don't see the potential that guy has. That guy is somebody that has extreme confidence in himself. When you see how he takes the ball on the wing, when you see how he's able to like literally run past you and get the ball into the 18-yard box, you know that Chelsea has a talent in him, right? So I just think that the game is not going to be as easy as everybody thinks for Manchester City. It's going to be a very hard game. If Manchester City even wins this game, it's probably going to be like one of them 2-1 kind of leads. But it's not going to be that awful, like 4-3-0. Nah. Today, oof.
Rumour has it Newcastle are quite interested in Onu Madueke, and they've, close to putting in a bid. So it'd be interesting to see whether Chelsea accept that. And
they probably should with the amount of players that they have on this team.
If they need to take out players, I don't think they should be taking out their star boys, because already they are struggling with the caliber of players that Chelsea would need to get into the Champions League or even European football. But Madrid is a very serious. Like when we're speaking about the likes of Cole Palmer, say Chukwuemeka, and Madueke comes into that conversation. If they want to start letting players go, yeah, they should start letting players like Mudryk go.
Yeah, the players off the top of my head, Sterling. I do think I'm still not sure about the signing of Mark Gill. I think he was a weird signing. Lukaku, I would get rid of. Broja, I think, has disappointed for me. There are players you can loan out. You look at that midfield, I think there are players in there that aren't going to get a game. I'm glad Ugochukwu's gone on loan to Southampton. I think that's a good move. I'm all for keeping Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez. I think they're good players. Dewsbury Hall could be a good addition to that midfield. But there are players in there that will not get game time. We're looking at Ben Chilwell potentially on his way out, leaving Josh Kukurea on that left-hand side. There's an overload of players in positions, and then there's a severe lack of players in other positions. You look at the fullbacks. If Chilwell goes, we've got Kukurea, and on the right we've got Reece James, who, unfortunately,
injury-prone,
is unfit for most of the season, and then Malo Gusto. If you're coming into a season with 7, perhaps 8 goalkeepers and 1 right back, the priorities are skewed. And I look at this Chelsea squad, and it doesn't. When you see a squad, you like to see a plan in place. You see that Arsenal squad, you see that City squad, you see a plan in place, you see the tactics they want to play. With this Chelsea team, I really don't see it. It feels, I hate to use the phrase, but a headless chicken. It feels, lackluster and all over the place, I think is probably the best way to describe it.
Gary, when you see this squad right now for Chelsea, how do you manage a team like this? We've talked about it. How does the manager choose his squad, let alone his starting 11?
You don't manage a team like that. You pray.
You pray. Gary, you're not wrong, honestly. It's unheard of.
Look, sir, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I mean, why? Why do you even give? You see, the thing about top management of any organization or any human resource is that you give yourself a chance to prune into something that works. Like, this is assuming they were all good players. It's literally too much of a good thing, and all you are doing is lots of player grudges, lots of unsatisfied players, chemistry in the dressing room all over the place, and it's just too much. It's a lot. It's a lot, and so that's why I struggle to see how they are going to manage it. There's going to be a lot of trial and error and all that, and it's just not for me. It's just not for me.
I agree. Well, let's see. Guys, let us know what your predictions are for the Chelsea and Man City match. Markinde has already said that it's going to be 4-0 to City, similar to Gary and Alex's predictions. But it should be an exciting match, always, when you have some of the big teams going in on the Prem. Sunday Premier League, it's our first Sunday here. It's going to be a good one. I think we'll all be watching. Moving along, Mohamed Salah, no hair, no care, because he's still scoring. New look for the Egyptian king, and he was getting on the board for Liverpool in a 2-0 win alongside Diogo Jota. Big game for Mohamed Salah. Looking like he's back.
It was fantastic. I think he caused real problems for that Ipswich defence. The ball's over the top. I was really impressed with that midfield as well. Gravenberch, I think, the link up that he had with Mohamed Salah was fantastic. And you saw Ipswich in the first half. They played well. They threatened Liverpool. I don't think they looked like scoring, but they were pushing back and they had their chances. And I think if Greaves, I can't remember, it was around the 30-minute mark, Greaves had an open header and he headed it over the bar. If that had gone in, it could have been a completely different game. Because in their first half, Liverpool looked shell-shocked in a way. They looked, a little bit, they were struggling. And I think that half-time team talk from Arne Slot really helped. And they obviously got their ideas together. And Salah on that right-hand side was fantastic. And, to get that goal, the assist, I think it was a fantastic game from him. And overall, I think Arne Slot will be happy. It's a good start to the season. It's obviously a tough job. You're taking over from Jurgen Klopp, who's arguably the best manager in Liverpool's history. Maybe he's, top 3. But to take over that job with a club that has a lot of expectations to succeed, if he's not winning the league in 2 or 3 seasons, there'll be pressure on him. I think there already is pressure on him. So, and there's always a potential banana skid playing against the newly promoted team. Ipswich, they're coming in with a lot of confidence, back-to-back promotions. At home, the crowd would have been hostile against Liverpool. So, yeah, overall, I think a good day out, things to improve on, but definitely positives to go from and 3 points on the board, which is the most important thing.
Absolutely. Gary, what do you think about Arne Slot and him at Liverpool? How do you expect them to fare this season?
First of all, I think that, like most of us, we didn't know him properly until we're introduced to him via, him becoming new Liverpool manager. I think that the handing over notes were done really well from what I'm seeing. I think the handing over was done really well. And it reminds me of the way Bayern used to bring in new coaches. Remember, like about 10 years ago, there was a time when they would announce like 6 months to time or 1 full year before the new manager came in. And so he always came in like landed running, or he hit the ground running.
Yeah.
And I think that is what Liverpool have done. Clearly, there's been a lot of, whether it's Zoom or Skype or Teams calls or Google Meet calls between and Slot and, just to look or share some ideas. I think Liverpool and Jurgen Klopp did not leave Anslot to just do his thing. They allowed the 2 managers from, and I'm sure that there's going to be an article in the Athletic in about a year or 2 when probably Liverpool have won an EFL Cup or something, about how Jurgen and Anslot, like, they synergized before the season started. Because the kind of chemistry I'm seeing and whatever it is that's working seems to have been brewing for a while, and that's good to see. It means that there's not going to be a lot of trial and error, which is good for Liverpool and also good for the league, because the PL is one of the leagues that you always need your certain traditional clubs to be going to keep the momentum interesting and going. So I like what I saw. I didn't watch the match as the full thing, but again, because of the show and all that, I had to go and check out the highlights, read a lot, and so on. And it seemed like I like what I saw. Let's just say I like what I saw, and he's going to be a good fit.
Yeah, it's true though when coaches kind of they go out on their own terms, and also because Klopp announced it quite early in the season last year that I don't believe there's no way that Klopp didn't have a bit of a decision in who was coming in, who would replace him, or at least I feel like him and Slot behind closed doors had conversations, and that's why you can see it is looking early doors, but it is looking like a seamless transition compared to Chelsea.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like just manager after manager after manager and sacking, and you never know what's going on. And then Pochettino comes in and saves the day in the end of the season, and you think, okay, they're turning it around. No, we're sacking him still. Like the inconsistency and the constant ups and downs. It looks like Liverpool, they really went through it very seamlessly.
Yeah, I think obviously they had their options before Arne Slot. I think they were looking at Xabi Alonso. There were coaches in there that potentially could have taken over instead of Arne Slot, but when they found their replacement for Jurgen Klopp, they went for him. It was a good choice. People doubted it perhaps at the time. I was one of those where I was thinking, obviously he's proven himself at Feyenoord, but there's a big difference between Feyenoord and Liverpool. Coming in, he's obviously, I think that transition, Liverpool is a well-run club. The fans maybe sometimes criticise them for not overspending on money, but on players, that's maybe a good thing at the end of the day. You're bringing in the players that you want to sign. Yes, maybe they need a midfielder. They were after Zubimendi. That didn't happen. But, you look at the business that Liverpool have done. It's been sensible. They've brought in players for the future. You look at that deal with Mamardashvili. He's going to go back on loan to Bournemouth. He's going to be one for the future when Alisson maybe moves on or goes to Saudi or perhaps, has an injury. Or it's a backup plan. And Liverpool feels like a really sensible, well-run club. And I think that transition, like you said, between Jurgen Klopp and Arne Slot would have been really well planned. They've obviously brought back Michael Edwards, who's the director of football operations there. He's doing a really good job, and it feels like a mini rebuild in a way, but almost one that it's a seamless rebuild. I think they're going to go one more year with this squad. There are players that might leave, Trent, Van Dijk, Salah. There are players that could leave at the end of the season, but go with this squad for the year and then see what happens. And I think I can see Liverpool clinching that top 4 spot quite comfortably this season.
Yeah, it's looking like it's going that way. But again, early door.
It is very early for me to say.
First match in, guys. We know it all. We know it all.
But then I think for a team like Liverpool, anyone should expect them to get to that top 4. If Liverpool has not been in top 4 in the last, I don't know, it just means that there's something wrong. A team, a club that's that big, a club that's had the Premier League at some point, a club that has the caliber of players that they have, they are pretty much as good as Manchester City when it comes to their signings. They sign really, really talented footballers. Like, come on, I can't even start counting the kind of people they have. But I would be expecting Liverpool to, if they're not winning the Premier League, they should at least be constantly playing Champions League football. Even if, Klopp was a very good manager, like you said, probably the best manager in the history of Liverpool, right? And they now have somebody, Ancelotti. He's just been handed in a very good team.
Yeah.
And if he's a good manager, fact is, you don't need to do too much. You just need to bring out the best from the players. And if you do that quite easily, they would perform. Like I said, they have amazing players. Like, I love watching Liverpool play. If I wasn't a Manchester United fan, trust me, I tell you, and if there was no Osimhen in the conversation of Chelsea, I'd probably be a Liverpool fan.
So we've got Man United, Liverpool, and Chelsea. All the teams that country.
Next week will be Man City.
Yeah, but also loves Bukayo Saka.
There could be Aston as well.
Dominic Solanke at Spurs. So,
well, yeah, I don't care about that one.
Stop it. Right, Aston Villa beat West Ham this past Saturday. Just yesterday. I'm losing my track already. 2-1 in this match. And Clinton, off air, you were saying you felt really bad for Nicholas Füllkrug. Yeah,
because at the end of the day, we know what he's capable of. Like, he's a very good striker. He's done in Germany at the Euros. He was very fantastic. This is me beginning to sound like Alex, yeah? But he...
Spending too much time with me.
Well, yesterday, it was just sad that, he just needed somebody to serve him. He just didn't have the Kevin De Bruyne. He didn't have, the Bruno Fernandes caliber of players to help him, get this. And I could even hear the commentator saying that he was just being starved. You could see him just waiting. And every single opportunity whenever the ball came into the 18-yard box, you could see him just trying to get his body in because he was not coming straight to the legs. He was just running there. And, I felt really bad for him. That game could have easily been a draw somehow. I understand that Aston Villa, they played really, really well. They took the opportunities. But West Ham, on the other hand, you could see that there was something that was just not happening, especially, on their midfield. There was just something off. Most of the chances that I saw them trying to create was coming from the wings. There was nobody that was creative enough to do it from the midfield there. And I think that's what they need to start working on if they want to start using strikers like Nicholas Füllkrug level of player. But they look solid on paper, honestly.
I think you see the players that they brought in. I was very hopeful for West Ham. I think quite a lot of people were, and I thought they were going to do well. I do think it will, having seen that first game, it will take some time for them to adapt, to build that squad together. But like you said, Clinton, when they brought on Crescencio Somerville and Nicholas Füllkrug, they seemed to come alive. That attack on the wings, I'm sure Gary will have something to say about Kudus, who I thought could have done better. I feel like it wasn't his best game.
Yep.
Looking at that midfield, the only one who really impressed me was Thomas Souček. He had that chance at the end. I was screaming at the TV when he couldn't quite get that shot under. It's definitely positives for Julian Lopetegui in West Ham, but things to work on, and I think time will tell whether that squad will gel into a successful squad. But really good signs for Aston Villa. Just whether they can keep it going when the Champions League begins, that will be the key test.
Yeah, Amadou Nana getting on the board first match. Yeah, definitely looks good. Gary, talk to us a little bit about Mohamed Kudus, and then I'll ask you about Aston Villa.
Um, disagree on a couple of things. One, I thought Susek did not have a great game. Remember, he won the penalty from Cash. Alex, right?
Yeah, yeah. It was the foul from Matty Cash.
Yeah.
Which personally I don't think that was a penalty, but still, let's go.
A very controversial call, I know.
Yeah.
But he was off pace. He was off the pace was most of the game. He squandered a decent chance in the second half, remember? Then he missed a glaring chance in the dying seconds of the game that could have gotten West Ham something out of the game as well. So I tend to disagree on who I thought were the good players as well. I thought Max Kilman had a really promising debut. I don't know what you guys thought. Alex, it seems you watched the game. What do you think of Max Kilman?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good
Former
signing. I think
ex-Wolves man. Yeah.
he's obviously a promising player. I think I really like the business that West Ham have done this summer. You know, I've been very, positive about what their transition. We get this with West Ham. They signed some brilliant players, and we're very hopeful. Hopefully, this time around it's different. I think they've got a good manager in Julian Lopetegui. But yeah, Max Kilman. Defensively, I felt like they dealt with Aston Villa fairly well. It was just those chances. They maybe weren't. This is football. You have to be on it 100% for 90 minutes, and perhaps those lapses in concentration. But yeah, I was really impressed with Kilman, and I think going forward he could be a key part of that defence once Todibo comes in and starts playing regularly as well.
Yeah. So then we come to you speak about the attack. So there was Lucas Paqueta, of course, who got the goal, but you look at the booking he had. He worked apart from that booking. He worked tirelessly um, until, of course, Ward-Prowse replaced him with just about 15 minutes to go, and then he dispatched his penalty well. Then Kudus, I thought it was a bright display from the Ghanaian. Why? Why do I say so? There weren't a lot of West Ham players who had the ability, who were able to use the ability to sort of affect the game. So what did he do? I thought his close control, his technical footwork, beat Aston Villa every time that he got the ball. He was a danger with the way he drew in the fouls and stuff like that. And I don't think a lot of West Ham players were able to do that because if you juxtapose it with somebody like Gerard Bowen yesterday, I mean, he stunk the game, the game out. Offensively he was limited and he offered very, very little. So I thought Kudus didn't have one of the brightest games as well because I think, like you said, the whole West Ham machine is now starting to click. It will take some time to really get going. But I thought these were some of the players that had a decent game. And I would actually say that as Aston Villa surprised me with how well they came out of the blocks as well. And I think they were full value for the results also. Yeah.
Aston Villa, though, we've spoken about this, Alex, but I'll ask Gary as well. They're in the Champions League this season. And Gary, how do you think they're going to handle playing midweek football? Do you expect this to be detrimental for them in terms of finishing top 4, maybe top 6 even?
The one reason why I am I'll be remotely confident is because of the coach. Because
yeah,
I think, I think the gaffer is one of those. My heart is always pining for him to do well because I think he's been underrated for so long, and I can't wait for him to do well. Yeah, I can't wait for him to do well with this Aston Villa team so that he can get a proper top 3 team somewhere and prove it again that Arsenal was the right team at the wrong time or the wrong time at the right team or whatever it was. The fit was not good. Yeah, you know those combinations. It's either the right team at the wrong time or the wrong team at the right time, or something just didn't work, or he came too early after a legend, and all those things just did not happen for him. I'm thinking that this is the time, yeah, and I think they've done some smart business. I like the way they look, and when they go to Europe, the transition between the midweek football and the weekend football is going to be so interesting. But I think that I have the squad that is not what you'd call world class, but they have the sort of players that are ready to do the business with a bit of squad management. And I can't think of a better person than Unai Emery to do that. So I'm one on one hand, I'm very excited and curious as to how they are going to manage it, but I am confident enough in the abilities of the players they've got. And yesterday was a harbinger of what, a Villa team like that can bring out to the party, because in the Champions League, look, you are not going to face a Bayern Munich and a Manchester City all the time, and a Real Madrid and a Barcelona. You are going to have teams of the ilk of West Ham United now and again, and I think that they've got what it takes and the player profiles to be able to pull it out and pull it off. And I am definitely putting them in the top 6 conversation this season. Absolutely.
I think the doubts for me for Aston Villa perhaps come from when I look at Newcastle when they qualified for the Champions League the following
exactly
season.
What I said, yep.
The
injuries.
The injuries really plagued them. But I think the difference is with Aston Villa, they've brought in players, like we've said. They've reinforced that squad. They've added to the depth. And I think when you play Tuesday and Saturday or Wednesday and Sunday every week, obviously there will be breaks in the Champions League, but I think when you have that squad depth, it allows you to rotate. Perhaps if you're playing Crystal Palace at the weekend, or you're playing midweek against a Napoli, or Napoli aren't in the Champions League, but teams of that ilk, you can afford to perhaps rest a player in the Champions League and play them on the weekend, or vice versa. So I think that's where Aston Villa have been really sensible, and they've added to their squad depth, because teams are playing so much football these days. It's only natural to want to need to bring in more players. Maybe not as many as Chelsea, but I think to add to the squad depth has been really good for them this year, and they've needed to do it, and they've been good with their business as well.
Yeah, well, they're playing Arsenal next week too. What an exciting match, Gary! Come on, that's a good one. That one screams really quality football. Aston Villa, Arsenal next weekend.
It's going to be very open. The only problem is that they are facing Arsenal, who seem to have been, or they are very compact at the moment. I mean, we are very compact at the moment, and bar the striker problem, I like to say, where you can't be sure that somebody's going to stick it in. I think Arsenal are too dangerous from too many parts of the field for Villa to be a threat. However, it's Unai Emery, and that's the problem. That's the problem. Like, he seems to have our number, and he's dialed in and dialed on every single time. So that even if we are not beating Unai Emery, right, outright, which always seems to be difficult, it seems to be we have to slug out that result. We have to claw it out. And I think he's going to be the problem. Now, I have just said good things about Aston Villa. Remember, because of their problems with PSR and all that, they had to sell some of their more promising players. They brought in a slew of younger players who might take time to gel as well. But there's something exciting about them, and that's what we saw yesterday. I didn't rate, I'll be very honest to say, I didn't rate Onana so much, and I didn't understand why he cost 50 million. But I saw why Unai Emery has spoken glowingly about the guy. And I think that they're going to be a good problem for Arsenal. And for me as an Arsenal fan, Aston Villa is exactly the sort of team and the test we need early on in the season to wake us up, give us a few slaps, so that if we think that anything is given, Aston Villa is a team that's not too easy to beat, not too difficult as well to get us going in the season. So I'm all for it. And it's also an away game. Here's a bit of trivia for you.
Villa Park.
I looked at the Arsenal schedule for this month, and I was so surprised we don't have any home game at all this month. Yeah. And that is why I think if Arsenal are going to win the league, this is the month, or September is going to be the month where we need to underline our title credentials, because there's no home game. Yeah. You are going away the whole time. If we get out of that unscathed and get points on the board, we are coming for you guys, my friend. We are coming for you.
I love it, Gary. I love the confidence. I mean, it's gonna be a big month for September, but they've started. For September for Arsenal, but they started it off on a good foot, so that's good. Newcastle beat Southampton with Joe Linton scoring the only goal of that match, but obviously Fabian Schär picking up a red card. Not ideal for the men from Newcastle, but they still got the win. And we also had Nottingham Forest tying Bournemouth 1-1. Poor performance from the Cherries overall. But today we have Brentford and Crystal Palace, Chelsea, Man City, and Leicester taking on Tottenham Hotspur and big. And I mean, obviously we've spoken about the big match, Chelsea and City, but these other two matches are good. This is a good day for Premier League football.
Yeah,
overall.
To round off, it feels good to have that Monday night football back. I think it's a good way to round off the weekend. Leicester.
Leicester Spurs is tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah, Leicester. Coming up, they've sold a few players. I think it will be interesting to see whether Steve Cooper can get them playing good football, like I know they can, like they've shown in the Championship. But I have them going down. Mm-hmm. I'm willing to be proved wrong, but I think it will be a tough test coming up against a Spurs side who will be hoping to get top 4 this season. Otherwise, I think the pressure will start to pile on Ange Postecoglou.
Yeah.
Can't.
Do you know one thing? I'm just looking at the schedule here. So Spurs play tomorrow, 9 p.m. Madrid time, and then they're the second earliest match on Saturday. I remember Spurs' schedule last season specifically. They were playing Mondays and Fridays constantly. Like, they had no time for turnover. It was quite difficult. So I hope not to see that from them, because I did enjoy the change and the new kind of era that Ange brought to the Spurs side. So I hate when schedules get involved. It's the worst. Like Gary's saying, there's no home games for Arsenal. This could be make or break for them. It's quite difficult. But yeah, really exciting matches today in the Premier League. And then we also have La Liga. Yes, guys, let's talk a little Spanish football. Actually, before we do that, I do want to say a big congratulations to Bayer Leverkusen and Xabi Alonso, because they won the DFL Super Cup, beating Stuttgart with Victor Boniface scoring in the 8th. I will never forget him.
I felt sad when he was taken out because of the red card, obviously.
Yeah.
He was the sacrificial lamb that had to make way. But yeah, because I was literally waiting to see more from Victor. Victor Boniface, I love him, as a very good player, one of the best from Nigeria, and a very talented player as well. And I just felt sad to see that he was the one that was being taken out, which obviously made sense. It was a very good tactical call from the coach. But then again, it felt like the game was going to go against them. But somehow, I don't know, as usual, Bayer Leverkusen, that's what they do every single time. The moment they equalized, it came 2-2. Everybody was like, Jesus. Yeah, at this point, we need to investigate Alonso, because there's definitely something he's doing. That means at the end, he always just finds a way to grab the win.
Well, that's the standout factor of this Bayer Leverkusen team under Xabi Alonso, is that no matter what, 97th minute, they play until that whistle is blown. And it's so good to see, because you do see teams that, they see that 80th minute rolling around, they see the 85th, they give up, and it's not good, because you can turn it around. 88th minute equalizer and then winning on pens. Listen to this. Xabi Alonso, since before joining Bayer Leverkusen hadn't won a trophy since 1993. Xabi Alonso gets appointed as the manager and has led them to their 3rd trophy in the last 5 months.
This is
and he's what, all of 42 or like
I can see a certain team in the Spanish capital knocking on his door in a couple of years' time when Ancelotti decides to retire or move on.
He would absolutely return to Madrid. I think that's the dream job. I think he's.
I think he's building a CV so far, and his CV kind of looks very concrete, like you said, in the space of 5 months. If, say, Ancelotti decides to say, "Yo, I'm done," I don't know who would be best or who you would think would have done better. That is it. I mean, if Bayern Munich would,
captain of the team once upon a time?
if Bayern Munich would go for a coach that's literally been relegated, in the person of Vincent Kompany, to becoming coach for Bayern, I see no reason why.
I hope he goes. Like, I would want him to leave the Bundesliga, though. That's just me personally, because I feel like what he's done with Leverkusen has been so good. Don't go to another team. Leave the name with Bayer Leverkusen and go to a different league. I mean, Real Madrid makes a lot of sense. I mean, Gary, what do you think? Xabi Alonso, if he leaves,
I think he got the decision spot on not to leave Leverkusen.
Yes.
And the more I think about it, the more I think he probably should spend not just 1, not just 2, but maybe, and this, of course, with the proviso that they back him in the transfer market in every one of those seasons. I think he probably should spend like another 3 seasons there. he's got the opportunity to do like remarkable things.
Yeah,
Not just
change
that,
the whole game.
but like exactly, like literally change the whole game. Hansi Flick is not going to walk his way to the title. And it's not just because, Dortmund got to Dortmund, they are going to disappoint you. Ask those who go on SportyBet every weekend, they're going to tell you. But in Leverkusen, you see more consistency. You see the prospect of a proper challenger, a proper contender, like one who's not gonna let the hand off the throat. They are going after Bayern hammer and tongs the whole time against the established machinery. And Xabi Alonso will be tempted. Obviously, it's Real Madrid. Obviously, there's Kylian, there's Rodrigo, there's Vinicius, there's Bellingham, and there's the entire setup to make him top 3 manager in the world.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just got the feeling that Leverkusen have got the secret sauce. Like one of those. I don't want to give a free advert, but one of those. All those brands that they say they've got the secret ingredients in there. They've got the secret sauce, and he's going to win at least one more trophy this season. If he can do what, for example, Diego Simeone. When I think of him, I think about Diego Simeone. Would you, as Diego Simeone, would you have wanted to leave Atletico Madrid at any point in the last 12 years? Absolutely not. You've got a team that give you the money you want. They back you in the transfer market.
Highest paid manager
I mean,
in
if
Europe.
you want to make,
like how is Diego Simeone the highest paid manager in Europe? What is going on here? What are we winning? How are you getting paid? I mean, they love him. Listen, and I love him too. There's you can't think of Atletico Madrid without Diego Simeone. But in whose world?
Exactly.
It's so bizarre to me. It's very funny.
So that's it. If they're going to back him and make him, and not making the highest paid, they won't make him the highest paid manager in the world. But if they're going to do that, I think he should stay there for at least another 2 to 3 seasons as well. So best wishes, and I'm really happy for what he's achieving, and also because he's giving our African brothers a lot of chances. What's not to love?
Yeah, there you go. We love that. We absolutely love that. All right, on to La Liga, guys. As you can see, yes, Sporty TV will be showing Real Sociedad versus Rayo Vallecano. Alex told me I slipped at the top of the show there, and I was saying Valladolid, they don't play until Monday. It is Rayo versus Sociedad. Mikel Merino and Zubamendi will be there for now.
Soon to be an Arsenal player.
Soon to be an Arsenal player,
Mikel
Merino.
Exactly.
Because Zubamendi really gave Liverpool the slip there, but it looks like Mikel Merino is on his way out.
I mean, did you see the press conference where the reporter cheekily asked Arteta, Mikel, do you like Mikel? Mikel, do you like Mikel? And I mean, he got it immediately. He got the joke immediately, because I mean, he didn't give anything away, but I am quite confident that there's been a Spanish connection. There's been a few phone calls, and Merino is gonna be ambitious enough to want to come to Arsenal. So yeah, I really want to see that happen.
Yeah, I think so. I love that. I think he's another great Spanish talent that I think is going to get a lot more love once he goes to a team like Arsenal, because people are just going to be paying more attention to him. And like Gary said, the Spanish connection is fantastic, as always. It's always good to see, managers kind of going after some of their countrymen as well. They just seem to have, there's just a bit of a bond.
Yeah, I think also the advantage with Mikel Merino as well, he has experience in the Premier League.
Yes,
Played
he
for
does.
Newcastle. That always, and I feel like a broken record banging on about experience in the Premier League, but it is a really important thing when it comes to players adapting. Mm-hmm. And when you have that experience, no matter how little it is, it really does help, because you're aware of the physicality, you're aware of the tempo of play in the Premier League, and you can adapt your game to it a lot quicker than perhaps someone who hasn't got that experience. So I think, it'd be a really good signing for Arsenal. And as well, obviously, Gary talked about Thomas Partey perhaps not being able to hold his fitness for the whole season. To have that player, just to hold that midfield, I think Mikel Merino will be a fantastic signing.
I think so too. The Basque connection is what's going to happen there. But yes, Sociedad taking on Rayo Vallecano at Anoeta. Not an easy place to play whatsoever. The altitude is difficult there for sure. I think Real Sociedad are going to have a statement win here, a very comfortable win. I think the fact that, like we spoke about last week, Zubamendi saying that he's going to stick with the Basque side. He believes in the project. This is a very close-knit team. I think that I see a comfortable win.
I think so. I think also last season, playing in the Champions League, we talked about this with Aston Villa and Newcastle. Perhaps we saw that detriment of the season last year for Real Sociedad. They finished sixth. Were all, always there or thereabouts, but never seemed to quite get into that top four. And I think when they're, obviously they'll be playing in the Europa League this season, so they'll have that added distraction. But I think, they will have learned from last season. They will have learned how to use that squad depth. And I feel like this will be a good win for Real Sociedad. A tough trip for Rayo Vallecano.
Yeah, very difficult. Guys, remember, we have that game live later today. So that will be 6 p.m. WAT, 5 p.m. GMT. Real Sociedad and Rayo Vallecano. Hey, Gary, did you see my boy Lamine Yamal cook last night?
Cook the meal. But I couldn't stop watching him without the context of everything that's going on. And I know Clinton said it at the top of the show. He alluded to it. Look, I mean, come on, his dad should give the kid a break, man, for the sake of the boy. Like, it hurts me so much because Lamine looks like somebody who is really, how should I say it? He's really close to the family thing, right?
Yeah.
And what's happening at home might affect the young kid. All this talk about his father constantly in fights and now getting stabbed, and when I read the reports this week, I did not know until this week that he had previous issues where, he was always in an argument in their neighborhood or being in fights and stuff like that. I don't know if it's because of the kind of neighborhood they are in, we can expect Lamine to be mentally tough and separate the two worlds or whatever his father is doing and knowing that, he has a job. But I think like Barca need to intervene here. Sometimes some of the big teams are able to put structures in place to ensure that their players are protected from something that's happening outside of them, whether it's in their marriage, if they are an older player or whatnot. I'm thinking that they should intervene here because Lamine Yamal's mental sharpness is important enough that Barcelona should, one, talk to the dad, two, maybe put some popo on him, like always give him a bodyguard or something, But I was happy to come to the football itself. I was happy with what I saw yesterday. Him giving the assist, he seemed to play with some freedom. If he plays like this season, Barca's going to be cooking. I also like to see what I saw with the younger players as well, in the Barcelona setup. I thought it was really promising.
3 players at the age of 17 started yesterday under Hansi Flick. In Lamine Yamal, Paul
You are smiling too much. Sarah, you are smiling too much. It's easy to see. You're blushing. It's easy to see.
No, I love it. I feel like it's back like the old days, like the Messiah is really messiahing right now. And I love that because there are so many issues with Barcelona, but the one thing that they constantly do, going back to their roots, and I love that. Yes, Marc Bernal, Pau Cubarsí, Lamine Yamal, all 17 years old. Lewandowski with the brace, 2 goals. Obviously, one was a penalty. But shout out to Valencia because they gave Barcelona a hard time at Mestalla. They scored first. They had a goal taken away. The header from Hugo Duro was perfection. It was a great goal, but I think I told you this, Alex, is that with Barcelona, they were down 1, and it's so important that they did not lose hope. They fought till the end, and they got the win. So, yeah, lots of injuries. No Gavi, no Pedri, no Frankie, but they got the job done.
Yeah, I think the main thing for Barca is, they got that job done, like you said. With Hansi Flick, I feel like they'll be a lot more organised this season. The way he likes to build his teams, I feel like even if they do have those injuries, they'll come in and be resolute defensively. And I feel like they put up a good test against Valencia, who I can see doing okay this season. Obviously they've got a lot of youngsters coming through as well, so it'll be interesting to see how Barcelona go. I still think they've got a lot to prove. I feel like there's a big gap between them and Real Madrid. Obviously, there's a big gap between everyone and Real Madrid. Real Madrid are worlds apart, but there are positives there for Barcelona. Lewandowski getting on the score sheet, that will do good for his confidence going forward this season. Lamine Yamal was good. Yeah, I think a positive, similar to, say, a Liverpool or a Manchester United. A good start, but definitely still positives. Still things to work on, I think.
Yeah, and definitely trying to figure out that starting 11. I mean, I'm looking at some of the players that came on. Sorry, Pedri, it was in the lineup, but wasn't playing a full match. But Eric Garcia back from Girona, who we remember from 2 seasons ago, was miserable for Barcelona. Gerard Martin, like I said, Marc Bernal and Marc Casado starting, Iñaki and Inigo Martinez starting for them as well. Like this is not the first team,
No,
and they're patience, but I'm very happy with what I saw, and they did get the 3 points. Real Madrid, as you were mentioning, are in action later today, taking on Mallorca, in Mallorca. And I don't think it's going to go well for Mallorca.
I mean, they might as well just give them the 3 points. I don't know why they
We
want
don't
to
even
waste
need to
their
talk.
time. Like, let's, just update the score line. And I mean, if I was...
Are you back from nap? I can't believe I haven't heard Clinton talk for 30 minutes.
Yeah,
He just,
because
"Hello."
I mean, because you guys were having a feast, and I was enjoying your
You're
feast.
coming back for seconds.
I'm coming for the crumbs, innit? You guys have had all the meats, and now I'm having the bones. Well, I mean, it happens. You see, when I want to speak, I obviously go in, and you literally think Alex is no longer on the show. Sometimes we even forget that Gary is there, and then it's only when we feel like we need to confirm something, we'll be like, oh yeah, we have our specialist Gary from Ghana.
Gary from Ghana.
And then Gary brings some props that he's saved listening to the conversation. One day I'm going to see Gary probably going to bring out a fridge and carry it and be like, well, this is after cooking a team. This is where they're going to put them to save them for who knows. But no, I think Real Madrid pretty much, I don't know. There are some games that you see the team, you see who they are playing, and you just feel like, why are they going to waste 90 minutes going to play the game? You might as well just...
Yeah.
But but then again, in football, anything happens. Real Madrid, they're the kind of team that, from the first half, you'll probably see them struggling. They might even go down 1-0 behind. And yeah, I don't know why I'm saying it with this current Madrid team, though. I don't think it's going to be the case. This is Kylian Mbappe. This is Jude Bellingham. This is Vinicius. This is Rodrigo. You come to the midfield. This is Valverde. This is
No, there's not enough time. We could name everyone. Like everyone is a superstar on this team, genuinely. Gary, Kylian Mbappe to score today?
Easy. Easy.
Mbappe, right?
Yeah. What do you think? We saw him
Mbappe,
score in his opening match.
Oh, he gone feast. He gone feast.
I mean, between him and Vinny, it's likely we'll see them both.
Perfect team to start his Real Madrid life with. I mean, just they've got all the ingredients for him to. And if I'm Carlo Ancelotti, I'm telling the guys in the dressing room, we are building a team. Chemistry is important, but pass the ball a bit more to Kylian today, okay? We need to increase his confidence. It's not like he's lacking confidence, but we need to let him start. Yeah, no, you can't say that in a dressing room full of Vinicius and Rodrigo and Bellingham especially. I wanted to say Carlo was going to tell them, we need to let him start padding, but everybody wants to start pad against Mallorca. So you can't say that. You can't say that. But yeah, I think it's a good game for Kylian to start with. And I think everybody, just like we were all curious as to what we're going to see with Barcelona, for all the reasons you gave, the injuries, the kids, how they were going to fare, is the same sort of curiosity, but for other reasons why we want to see Real Madrid.
Sure.
What are their potential Ballon d'Or nominees going to do in a real league setting? Because the Super Cup, for all its thing, was a one-off match. I mean, you could plan for that match and execute and get it done and dusted. This is a league setting. The dynamics are different. Everything is different. Apart from the fact that I think that I agree with you that Real Madrid are going to win, there's so many little things that we all want to see play out, especially where Real Madrid is concerned. And I can't wait for that game. It's the reason why today I don't think I'm going to be doing much. I'm going to be sat with my TV watching television because there's the City Chelsea game, and then there's the Real Madrid game, and then obviously you have to watch that game on Sporty as well too, so that I get prepared before coming tomorrow on tomorrow's show. and all that. But Real Madrid are going to win 1. 2, Kylian is going to have a good game. They should give him 90 minutes. They shouldn't sub him. They should give him 90 minutes. I don't care who is going to be on the bench. For today, let him experience La Liga in all its glory. And I think that's the way it's going to go.
Not a bad.
I mean, sorry, Sarah. I mean, I was just going to go to Gary. Gary, would you not think that it would be nice that this kind of game they bring in Endrick? Because obviously, when you look at the whole story surrounding Endrick now, there's that whole thing of, preseason, it wasn't, there's that strength that they would require for somebody to play in a league like La Liga. We're not saying it with Endrick. Like, do you think this is... I understand he doesn't want anybody to be subbed off from Mbappe. Mbappe should play the full minutes. You could probably say the same for Vinicius. I'm sure Vinicius, this is the kind of game he probably wants to play. I mean, this is the kind of game that Mbappe could have a hat-trick. Vinny could also have a hat-trick. Like, anybody could easily... a lot of them will feast tonight, right?
I think on the opening day, you have to make a statement.
No, absolutely.
They'll want to come out, get the win, put the rest of the league on notice.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe Endrick will get 5 minutes at the end, but more likely than not, I can see that front three playing the whole game. Maybe Brahim Diaz will come on. I think Arda Güler will get some minutes. But I don't think Endrick will get on.
You don't understand. Listen, when Arda Güler is that person that when you mention his name, I get this really, my heartbeat goes from...
on your skin stand.
Yeah. I don't know. For some reason, I always want to see him play football. He's just... I just hope he gets enough time in this Madrid squad. When
I
you
don't
look
know
at the
if he will.
squad,
I'm starting to worry about that, to be honest.
Yeah. I don't know. But tell me, Gary, what do you think about Endrick?
You're asking Clinton. I mean, I don't think today is going to be the beginning of us establishing the fact that he's probably not too good to get enough time. I mean, look, I know it's Carlo Ancelotti, and again, I said that on the last time I was on the show that there aren't many managers in the world you want to be in this Real Madrid team at this time with these sorts of players, because he's the one who can make sure everybody is happy. If I am Carlo, I am telling Endrick that you are young. The circumstances of the team right now means that I think you should take your time and wait your time out. This may not be the season where he gets a lot of playing time. Maybe in the cup matches, yes, we can trust him and make sure that he proves himself consistently in the cup matches this season. I think that Sarah, Clinton, Alex, one of the things, and this is not because of the day and age we're in, is that he needs a personal trainer who is going to let him shed off some kilos. One, I think that for all the things he was doing in Brazil, I think he needs his body to be a bit more, what's the word again? There's a word they use in English. Streamlined. Streamlined is not the word, but if I say streamlined, you get it. I think his body needs to be a bit more chiseled for me.
Yeah,
and
leaner.
He needs that. Yeah, I think he's packed on too many pounds to be optimal, to be as fast as you want him to be in a setting like Real Madrid. He's not as fast as anybody in the front six, and that's a problem for somebody his age. I don't know what you think. He's not as fast or faster than anybody in the front six.
The thing, I think it's crucial now that if this is the decision that's going to be made, he's at a good age to do it because he is so young. Yeah. And, boys he's still physically growing and changing. But these kind of habits and getting into this now is crucial, because if he misses the window, it's gonna only get more difficult.
I think, Clinton mentioned this the other day. I think Vinicius will play a big role in that. He's gone through a similar path. Obviously played a few games for Castilla before being promoted to the first team. I think Endrick as well, similar to Arda Güler, I think will have to buy his time. He'll have to, work towards getting that first team spot. And, I think Arda Güler is the perfect example. He's had, sporadic minutes last season. He played a few games towards the end. He took his chances, but you see off the pitch, he's working, he's in the gym, he's, even after the Euros, you could see videos of him online. He was working out, he was on the pitch, he was practicing, he was building up that physicality. And it's a similar issue, I think Gary mentioned it, in terms of coming from the Turkish league to La Liga and coming from Brazil to La Liga. The physicality is different. And I think when you're a player like Arda Güler or Endrick and you're coming up against players, they'll want to put in a challenge. They'll want to put an arm in the back of you. They'll want to let you know that you're not going to have it easy in this league. So he has to build up that physicality, as Gary said. And I think he's got the perfect role models around him to become a fantastic player. It just has to buy his time and be patient.
Yeah, no more feijoada, Hendrik, okay? We gotta get that physicality up and see what you can do this season. Gary, give me a score prediction for Real Madrid and Mallorca.
3-0.
Wow. With everything we've said, I think that's very kind of him, though.
You know what I've been thinking this whole conversation is our poor social media guy in our producing room, Guillaume, from Mallorca, is listening to this thinking, nice one, guys, nice one.
I asked him this morning, are you nervous? And he was like, no.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure him and Ben were saying that the stadium is going to be full of Madrid fans, so there you go. But 3-0, Kylian Mbappe to score?
Of course.
Of course, that's easy. Of course. Yeah, you guys, what are we thinking? You said 3-0 was nice, so what do you think is going to happen today?
I think the game is going to be a 2-1.
To Real Madrid.
Did I just shock you guys?
Yeah, because you just said 3-0. Like, you don't even know what you're talking about.
No, but listen, right? On paper, right? This game should be like a 6-1. Right? And Mbappe should be having a hat-trick. Jude Bellingham should have one. Vinicius should have 2 on paper. But my prayer is for it to be a 2-1.
Well, if we're doing prayers, I hope Mallorca wins 5-0.
But that prayer, even God cannot make that prayer happen. So you will do the one that's very possible. I know they said with God all things are possible, but with that one, I think if I want the miracle to happen, it should be Mallorca 2-1 to win. Like this is the kind of shock I want to see in the world, because this is a news that will not get off social media for a very long time. Imagine that whole front four facing a team like Mallorca, and then Mallorca clinching a win, and bro, come on, like
you can keep imagining, because it's not going to happen.
And it's not, I know that's why I said it's a prayer, right? Why do you pray? You pray because this is impossible. Okay, let it happen. But on paper and by what we see, what we know would happen, I see this easily getting up to like a 5-goal difference, easy.
I think, I'm going to go with Gary on this one. I think 3-0, Real Madrid will be comfortable. It'll be a good chance for Ancelotti to work out his best side, his tactics that he wants to use. It is always the case, the first game of the season is always tough because, Mallorca will be up for it, not only because they're playing Real Madrid. It's the first game of the season. Players will be, energised and motivated more so than they will be in game 30 of the season. It's natural. So I think it'll be a tough game for Real Madrid, but I think they'll do the job and, 3-0 win.
Yeah.
Wait. You see, this is my problem with Alex. What do you mean it's going to be? Like, we've just been speaking about how, and then he says, "Oh, I think it's going to be a tough game for them."
No,
like,
every
3-0 tough game.
You can still win 3-0 and have a tough game. Every opposition in La Liga is capable of putting up a test. We saw Almeria at the Bernabeu last year. They came to the Bernabeu and they put up a test. They did well. So I think Mallorca will be, a tough opposition to break down. But I think Real Madrid have the tools to break them down, and I think they'll be able to do it.
This is off topic. Why do English people pronounce Mallorca?
So
is there a different spelling?
The English spelling is Majorca.
But it sounds like you're saying M-I. You say Mallorca. You don't say
So I'm saying Mallorca.
Okay.
Obviously, the Spanish pronunciation, Mallorca, but the English way of saying it is Mallorca. So it's like Mallorca.
Okay. There you go. You learn something new every day. Jump into some comments, guys.
Thank God I'm not English, man. I don't
You
know
are.
how to go.
what do you mean I am?
You got the passport, man.
Thank you. If you have to explain my citizenship
Gary,
like that,
talk to
it is not. Right?
You're
an Englishman.
Nigerian, but you're English as well.
Wait, Gary, hold on. What are you saying, Gary?
Clinton, since we are doing Spanish and English pronunciations, why don't we tell them the Ghanaian and Nigerian pronunciation of Mallorca?
Oh my God. Tell us. Is there a way?
The funny thing, I don't even know what the pronunciation is. Gary, please start with the Ghanaian one.
Can you imagine?
And then I'll come back to the Nigerian one eventually.
I'm from the tribe. We have very similar ties to the tribe in Nigeria that has the H problem. You know the one you spoke about last week. You spoke about a tribe last week. The tribe that has the H problem.
Oh, yeah. You said something about like H's and R's or something. And
the L. No, I think, the L, the R's, the R's, the L's. Yes.
So I'm from that tribe here.
Okay.
Yeah. And we
Are you
we
going
are
to tell us
very.
the tribe, or we have to guess what's going on?
I'm Ga. It's spelled
Okay.
GA. It's
Okay.
GA. It's spelled GA. I'm Ga.
Right.
So
Okay.
it's the tribe of the people of Accra, right? So if we have to pronounce it with an R problem, then we'll be pronouncing it Maroka. Maroka,
Yes,
right?
yes, 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 yes,
Maroka.
yes, yes, yes. That's true.
That's
That's
really
Maroka.
true.
confusing
Yeah.
Yeah,
now.
So
yeah.
that
So
would be Maroka.
yeah, yeah. No, so it's almost like in Nigeria. So the Igbos, instead of to say rice, they'll say lice.
No.
Yeah,
Right.
Oh,
yeah.
dear.
And obviously, you do know what lice is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Something I don't
Not the
want.
sort of thing you want to make.
Well, exactly. So yeah, but it's a very normal. When you go to the Igbo land, this is very normal amongst the indigenous of that place. So sometimes you'll be forced to ask them, sorry, what did you? They would have
What
to
are you
explain
talking
that.
about?
Yeah,
Just
well,
checking
exactly.
you don't actually want lice with your food.
Well, yes, yeah. No, you just need to confirm that, man.
Markinde is saying that Mbappe is going to get a hat trick tonight and Real Madrid's going to win 3-0. The confidence, I hope we don't get shocked, says Cole. Salsabili, no, sorry, one more time. Salsabila, pardon me on your pronunciation, my pronunciation there, says Barcelona will cook Madrid this season. I hope you're right, but I don't think it's going to be so easy. Real Madrid will find it difficult. Their last two meetings have been 1-0 each. Yes, but this is the league, and it's so different. And now the real football is under... Because I know they won the Super Cup, but even to me, I'm like, this is such a throwaway tournament. Like, it's not... Do we even count that as a trophy? You know what I mean? Like, I know we do, but overall, it's like you focus on the league, you focus on the domestic cup, and you focus on Champions League or Europa League, you know.
I think
But
they're
you're
looking, when you think of obviously England, you have the Carabao Cup, so you can do the quadruple, but in Spain it is, it's the triple at the end of the day. Yes, the quadruple, they want to win the Super Cup, but the La Liga, Copa del Rey, and the Champions League are the main ones. Like,
yeah, well, like remember when Pep won the sextuple or whatever in 2008-9, was it? And I was like, what are we counting? And I'm a Barca fan, and listen, I was happy, but you have like the Club World Cup, the Spanish Superliga, and I'm just like, all right, guys. So no, my point is that though, this is where you see the real football. This is where you see, what they're really going after. So I think it should be good. We had some other matches in La Liga just to update you guys, and a big one. Las Palmas 2-2 against Sevilla, and I'm bringing this up because, Alex, you have Sevilla finishing in the top 10, and this is not the way they want to start to Las Palmas. 2 own goals in this match as well. Chaos.
Yeah, and I think, I had them as my surprise. Maybe they were surprised that I predicted them as my surprise. I don't know whether that threw them off. But no, I think first day is always going to be difficult. I think it's always going to be, that game that you use to maybe dust off some cobwebs. And I think when you come into a season, it's always tough. You're going to have new players. Obviously, they talk about, we've talked about Kelechi and Nacho in that team. It will take time for those players to gel, similar to West Ham. So I think, it's not a bad result to get things going, but there are obviously lots of things to work on. They'll want to improve on certain aspects. I did see it was quite a funny picture after the game. One of the Las Palmas fans asked Oli McBurney for a shirt in exchange for some after sun. Obviously, being British, doesn't adapt well to the sun. So he's, I thought that was quite humorous of the fan. So I think. Going off topic, I think back to Sevilla, I think, they'll want to improve on certain things. They'll have an idea of how they want to play this season, but it is the opening day. You're going to dust off some cobwebs. Las Palmas even, I think, surprised a few people. I do have them going down myself. So, maybe I've got it all wrong. And that's the beauty of football. I think when you look at the opening day, it's going to be completely different when we come back to this in 10 games time. Sevilla could be 16th and Las Palmas could be 8th. So
Might be a mere memory.
Exactly. It's the beauty of football. So I think, if I was Sevilla, I wouldn't look too much into that opening day and, just focus on improving and going into next week.
Well, speaking of, maybe a difficult start, Serie A kicked off yesterday with 4 draws across the board.
Yeah.
Inter tying Genoa 2-2, Parma and Fiorentina 1-1, Milan drawing Torino 2-2, and Empoli and Monza 0-0. I mean, that's just absolutely ridiculous, leaving everything open for today. Juventus going at it with Como later on, Lecce and Atalanta. Should be interesting. We'll see. Whoever wins, it's going to be Cali at the top of the table because of all these draws in the first day, and then like you said, in 10 weeks' time, we'll be talking about something else. But guys, that's pretty much it for us. We have a few minutes left here to wrap it all up, but we've gone through as much as we can with you guys, Gary. We've started from the Prem to La Liga, and there's been so much football, and I think we're just still trying to adjust. And also the schedules of La Liga are still quite difficult here in Spain because it's so hot that they're only doing 2 games a day from Thursday to Monday, and yeah, it's a bit chaotic right now, but there's a lot going on.
I mean, we're thankful for it. A week ago we were looking forward to this starting. I'm glad it started. I think, excited to see the Premier League games later today. Obviously, Brentford Crystal Palace should be a good game. Chelsea Man City goes without saying will be a barn burner. And yeah, it's always exciting to see Real Madrid. So lots of exciting football to come. And
yeah, I mean, I'm also hoping that obviously some of the teams I support will end up winning, because one of the reasons why I'm very sad. I mean, part of the reason why I'm very pissed is the fact that obviously as a Nigerian, yesterday we had Israel Adesanya losing the fight to a South African. The least thing a Nigerian wants right now is to lose anything to South Africans. Nigerians and South Africans, we are having a very crazy rift as we speak. Right, I think that there's a war brewing, and I might go into that fight because they are pissing. South Africans are beginning to piss us off.
But it's also good to see Israel Adesanya. For those who don't know, UFC, he lost his comeback fight after quite a few months off. Even I think it was over a year. I can't remember exactly. And he lost to the champion Dracus du Plessis. But after the fight, you saw them embracing, and I think this is the key. At the end of the day, if it's football, if it's fighting, if it's we go into battle, if you want to call it that, for those 90 minutes or for those 5 rounds. But at the end of the day, it's sport. It brings people together, and to see those people who, just a day ago were swearing at each other at a press conference to then hug it out and to respect each other, I think that's the main thing about sport. That's why we play it, to go against someone, but to respect them in the process.
Yeah. Well, all this English you've just spoken. To me, I was just hearing you blabbing all this while, right? All I'm saying is I'm pissed off that they beat a Nigerian in that fight, and at some point it was Nigerian versus Ghanaians with the music here. The whole arguments. Nigerian jollof.
Don't start this with Gary now. Don't start this with Gary now.
Nigerian jollof. Yeah, now it became South Africans. He went from xenophobia, and then he also went to. Oh, do you even know one of the crazy? There was one story that was going on between Nigerian and South Africa recently. It was about this lady that was a beauty pageant who they were arguing her nationality. She was South African, blah blah blah, and then they had to stop the woman, the lady, from contesting, and she now went back to Nigeria to contest as a Nigerian. And Nigerians are now like, so it's gone from that into Israel Adesanya trying to fight this guy. People were like, yeah, Israel is going to now mess the South Africans up. Blah. And we woke up this morning to hearing that they beat up our guy. So you see, that explains the reason why I've been quiet anyways.
That's the reason why. All right, guys. Well, it's been a pleasure talking with you all this Sunday. Gary, thank you as always. We will be back tomorrow evening discussing Manchester City and Chelsea, and of course Real Madrid. And don't forget, this evening on Sporty TV, Real Sociedad taking on Rayo Vallecano, 6 p.m. WAT, 5 p.m. GMT. Until then, guys, enjoy the football.
Ebwe.